Alright, in this section what we're looking at is 8-5. Topic here is composite area on grid. And so in the last section we did some composite area, but it was not on the grid like we have here. And so strategies are the same as the last section. Divide the figure up into two figures that you have formulas for. So here, if we were to take this figure and divide it up here where this dashed line is, we would cut it into a triangle and a trapezoid. And so we would need to find the area of the triangle, area of the trapezoid, add the two together. So let's try the triangle first. Area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. And so really the difference here, since we have a grid, the lengths of the numbers are not going to be given to us like they were in the last section, but we just have to count the grid and see what they are. And so, like for example, in this case, if we want the base, we count across. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the base would be 6. The height of the triangle counted 1, 2, and 3. And I know this printout that I'm using under the camera didn't print out the grid very well, but the file that's uploaded onto Canvas has the grid printed out better that you can look at. So again, the area of the triangle is going to be half of 6 is 3, and 3 times 3 makes a 9. So the area of the triangle would be 9 units, 9 square units. All right. Let's focus on the bottom figure, which is a trapezoid. We have to know that first. We've got the formula for it from 8-1, which is 1/2 the height, open, base 1 plus base 2. Then we need to count the lengths of the parts. We want the height first. Remember, the height is from base to base, so if we count it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so that would be a length of 5. Should have wrote in those other lengths as I counted them as well. So we know the height is 5. Let's put that in there. We know that one base is 6, that top base, but now we need to count out and get the bottom base. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is the bottom base. So to get those lengths, you're just counting the squares pretty much, since it's on the grid. All right, now we've got everything plugged in. We are ready to multiply everything out, and so we can get 6 plus 8, that would make 14, times 5 is 70, and then half of that's 35. You could also plug that whole thing into the calculator and get the answer one time if you needed to. So the area of the triangle is 9. The area of the trapezoid is 35. If I want the area of the whole figure, we know we got to add the two together. 9 plus 35 is going to be 44, and then there's your answer. All right. So again, you're finding the area of each piece and then adding those pieces together. Okay, on the next figure, the way that we can slice it is right here along this dotted line, or this dotted line right here. And that would cut it into a rectangle and a triangle, both of which we have formulas for. See, this whole thing, this whole pentagon, we don't have a formula for the area of this. But if we cut it into a rectangle and a triangle, then we do have the formulas. All right, so rectangle, we'll concentrate on that one first. Area equals length times width. All right. Hopefully you've got all the formulas pretty well memorized by now, but if you don't, you can always pull up the notes from 8-1. It's got all those formulas, area formulas there. All right, so length and width. Let's count the length. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The width, 1, 2, 3, 4. So length is 6, width is 4, and then so that'll make my area 24. Okay, so the other figure we have is a triangle. So area of a triangle, that formula is going to be 1/2 the base times the height. Area equals to 1/2. Now remember, okay, you can use any side you want as the base, but you must be able to count the perpendicular height. So we want to use this side as the base, which we already know is 6. Now, what would the height be? Now remember, height is not from bottom to top. Height is the perpendicular height coming from whatever side we're using as the base. So I need to count 1, 2, 3. 3 is my actual height there. Okay, so just make sure you're plugging in the right values for the base and height. And remember what we said. The base and the height have to be perpendicular to one another. Okay? Just a couple of things to keep in mind. So my area is equal to 6 times 3, 18. Half of that makes a 9. So I have my two things I need to add together. 24 plus 9 makes 33. That's the correct answer there. All right? Again, find the area of each piece, add them together. The next figure, we can cut this down the middle right here and then cut it into two trapezoids. So the first trapezoid, area equals to 1/2 the height, open, base 1 plus base 2. All right? So the area is equal to 1/2 times. All right, so let's take a look here. So the height is from base to base, and the base are the parallel sides. Remember, it's not necessarily top to bottom. Keep that in mind. So the height here will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is my height. All right. Base 1 we can count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Plus base 2, the other base, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've got all of our parts plugged in like we need to. Let's find the area. Area equals. Let's see, so half of 4 is 2. 8 plus 4 is 12. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 is the area. Now, I don't have to do this again for the other trapezoid because these two are the same. They've got the same dimensions, right? 4, 8, and 4. 4, count that, would be 8. Count that would be 4. So, really, they've got the same area. So all I have to do now is 24 times 2. And we got 48. That is the area of the figure. Okay? And we got one more that we need to practice here. Okay, so this figure, okay, it might be a little bit strange to try to cut here, but as you can see, probably the best way to be cutting it would be right down here to these two vertices. That way I've got two triangles that I can look at. Now, when you first see this, you might think, oh, this is a trapezoid. But if you examine it closely and find the slopes of these two lines, you would find that the slopes of these lines are not the same, okay, which means that these two sides are not parallel, which means it can't be a trapezoid. So be careful thinking you can use the trapezoid formula. Even if it were a trapezoid, then you would still have to do a lot of work to find the length of this base, the length of this base, and not to mention the perpendicular height, right? So that would be three tasks that would take a lot of calculating. It would take you quite a bit of time. So by far the way to go on this one is to cut this right here between those two vertices. Because now I got two triangles. And the formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. So we got 1/2 times. Alright, so let's work on the first triangle here. We'll use this as the base. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's 8 there, right? Now we need to figure out what the height here is going to be. And so my height is going to be 1, 2, and 3. So we got 8, we got 3, which is going to make my area half of 24. That's going to be 12. Okay. Let's find the area of the other triangle. Now I can't just do 12 times 2 this time because these are not congruent triangles. They're two different triangles. They're not the same. You can only do it times 2 if they're exactly the same. So this will be 1/2 times. The base over here will be the same, 8, but my height's going to be different. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the height. 8 times 5 is 40. Half of that's 20. Now we can do 12 plus 20 and get the real correct answer. 32 is what you want. All right, so that's several examples of finding the area of the composite figures on grid. Like I say, you'll use the grid to count and get your measurements. And then once you have divided it up into two figures that you have formulas for, okay, you can calculate the area of each one and then add them together. All right, so very ready for your quiz now at this point.